welcome to another trip. I'm here on the eastern end of the Kekekabic Trail, here off the Gunflint Trail, and I'm just getting started. It's noon, and I'm a little bit delayed here today. I decided to take a last-minute trip here this spring. It's May 15th today. The ice just went off the lakes here, and there's still a little snowpack along the road, but it's 72 degrees right now. Very nice and warm. Expecting a couple days of really warm weather. Rain on Thursday, so we'll see. But got a good start here. It's a nice little trail. It's been many years since I've been here. My wife and I hiked part of this looking for blueberries one year. Went and followed the whole Centennial Trail, but I'm gonna go straight and follow the Kekekabic, and maybe, I don't know, I don't really have a goal. Right now I'm thinking about possibly getting to the Kekekabic Bridge. We will see. Oh, I'm already winded. This trail has a lot of iron showing. Here's a piece of some of the rock that's around. It's a high manganese iron ore, I guess. Somewhat magnetic, and they almost built an iron mine here. Oh, gear changes. Got a few things that are going to be different on this trip. Biggest one is I'm trying out a different tent. I love my 6 Moon Design lunar duo tent, but I have some ideas for some other trips I want to take, and I wanted a freestanding tent for that reason. So I bought a small one-man freestanding tent. Tried it out in the yard at home. That's it. So try that out here, see how that goes. And I've added a few other small gear changes, notably my cook kit. I'm going with a smaller little cook kit. I will show that off when I use it. But beautiful day so far. It's actually a touch of humidity, but it's a really nice breeze. Half mile in, get to the intersection here. Here's the Kek, and this is the trail up to the old Gunflint Fire Tower site. We're still outside the wilderness boundary, so there's actually signs. I was wondering how hard this would be to find, but it's obviously pretty easy. It goes way up on top of a ridge. As I said before, this was almost an iron mine here. See this, all this rock, higher iron containing rock. Here's one of the test pits. Where they blasted rock out to try to find iron. Kind of interesting, they're surrounded by a little wooden fence. But there's several of these along this section of the trail. Like I said, there was 1890s they were doing exploration here. Found actually a good source of iron a ways down the trail here. Back to the trail. Near a little lake called Mine Lake, of all things. And there's a lot of test pits, but the actual mine that was of any size is not right by the trail from what I've been told. Although it's marked as the mine, Paulson Mine, it's actually off the trail a ways, the bigger mine. They did manage to get a railroad into here and loaded one rail car full of ore, but then there was a economic collapse at the time, big recession, and that pretty much eliminated that, and then the railroad was dissolved. It's another test pit. Here you got these markers here with little numbers on them. There's another one down there with a little wooden rail. Here's one of the bigger pits. There's a labeled as the Paulson Mine, 1893, although this is not the mine. Yeah, I've seen this before, these pits, when there wasn't so much water in them, and they're lined all the way around with big timbers, wood, flat sawn timbers, and they're still visible, preserved by the water. But there's been a lot of activity here, a lot of packing. Yeah, protected by the American Antiquities Act of 1906. Yeah, this one's not full of water. It's not that deep. Someone dropped some logs in there. It's a good idea. Then someone could climb in if they ever fell in. Yeah, there's a lot of iron in the rocks. You can just see all this stuff that's laid all over the ground. Pretty good pile of rock. This first little lake you come to, across the way, there's a rubble pile right there. There's some test pits over there too, and I think the other side of that big ridge somewhere is where one of the bigger mine pits is. There's a YouTube channel, I think it's called Port Arthur and Duluth, something like that anyway, which was the name of the railroad that was built into here to get the ore out. And the railroad was built, but then quickly dismantled. But that guy has done a lot of exploring of that entire railroad system and has gotten out to the end of it here, and just bushwhacked out in the woods and found all kinds of neat things. I should have reviewed it before this trip, so I would have kind of known where some of it was. But it's really amazing to me is back when I was here last, wasn't too long after the fire. It was when they just had built the Centennial Trail, but this hillside was completely bare. It was just bare rock all the way up to the top, and I climbed way up there and found blueberries were growing up there amongst the burnt logs. And now it's pretty darn thick. Across this lake right here, this little lake is this Centennial Trail is up on top of that ridge. It goes along there. Here about, oh, I don't know, 3/4 to a mile in is the cutoff to go to the Centennial Trail. They got a really nice bridge built here. That wasn't there before. When we were here, it was just a bunch of rocks we had to climb across. There's still some snow in some of the crevices across the lake over there. Pretty impressive hill right there. Hard to believe a week ago this was probably all still ice, and there's probably a foot of snow on this trail yet. Just we had a quick warm up here. Kind of melt. Everything's pretty wet, pretty soggy, but it's 76 according to my thermometer right now down here in this gully. Yeah, here's Mine Lake. The trail does actually go right into the water, as some of the reports said. You can see someone scuffed on the side of that rock, but then up ahead there you can see the trail through the standing water. To see what I can do to get around that. A few of these trees here, a few of these bigger black spruce survived the fire. Probably most of this grove of black spruce here survived the fire. A few maybe right here too. There's an apparent reroute of the trail here, right along the north shore of Mine Lake. All the maps show it right next to the water, but it's been, there's markers and piles of sticks down there. And it looks like a new trail here. It's all been brushed out. I don't know how long it's been this way, of course, but yeah, this is a new trail now for me. I suppose right next to the water was too wet, like it was back in the stream area. This one's a little steeper and goes up the hill quite a ways. And the steep trail did bring us way up on an overlook. Pretty little lake. I read there's another pit here on the north shore of Mine Lake, and I think I found it right there. The only thing is, it's pretty small. I mean, well, it's probably similar to the other ones, not as deep maybe, but no signs of any iron-bearing rock. It looks to be all just gray rock. But the trail here is pretty well maintained. Pretty easy to follow. There's a little brush hanging in there, but not bad. This big lump of land that goes along the north shore of Mine Lake. And there's a wetland between it and that long ridge. I was kind of hoping that the lake's right on the other side of that ridge. I was kind of hoping to just bushwhack over there and take a look at the lake up close, but so far I haven't really seen a way to do that. There's one of my reasons for wanting to check out the shore of Mine Lake there is there's sort of a hidden spot there that looks like it survived the fire, and kind of on the other side of this ridge with mature trees from the aerial imagery. And in one of the images, aerial images, I don't know which site is on, but there's a canoe there on the shore. And so what I learned years ago was that there used to be a guy who actually lived up here the whole summer. He would just come in here illegally, and he somewhere had a canoe here, and he had spots he would camp, and he'd live here the summer, and then he'd hitchhike in the spring and fall on the Gunflint Trail down to Grand Marais, and then from there he would had a friend who would give him a ride down to the Twin Cities, I was told, and he spent the winter in a homeless shelter, I guess. But my wife and I had the opportunity to meet that guy once on this trail, back there ways. Sorry, I'm not talking too fast because it's flooded. I gotta keep watching my footing here. But this guy, we met him on the trail, and he was carrying a life jacket and canoe paddles. I thought that was kind of strange. Older guy with a gray beard. And he didn't say a word to us, but as soon as I got close to him, he took out a piece of paper and handed it to me and just kept walking. And the piece of paper was a religious pamphlet, and it was kind of interesting how he would just do that. Apparently a number of people have reported seeing him over the years, but it was quite a long time ago, and he was pretty old then. I kind of wonder if he's still around, still doing that. But I assume he had a campsite just to the ridge over here on Mine Lake, which would be perfect because you can't really access it from the trail by walking to it, but you could from a canoe, which would be easy to land on the far end of Mine Lake. Kind of a perfect situation. And you know, just stash the canoe somewhere, but all illegal, of course. Don't do that. Watch my footing. This trail's pretty wet and flooded along here, getting smaller all the time too. I decided to sit right here on this nice old burnt log right here on the shore of Mine Lake. Yeah, and that is a black fly. Seen I had a couple of them around. And have a little snack, and I did something different. Took a tortilla and I rolled it up with peanut butter and Nutella. Never tried that before, but we're gonna see how it is. Oh yeah, that's tasty. All rolled up in there. That's delicious. Chocolatey peanut butter, and so easy to do. And I had it jammed here in the top of my pack, and it's not even smashed. Oh yeah, more black flies. Yeah, I must say that's delicious. Absolutely wonderful. No jelly, just Nutella and peanut butter. Both of which, or neither of which, I should say, need refrigeration, so I can make it ahead of time. Throw it in a baggie. It's tough. Oh man, it's good. Wish I had more of that. But just packed that one for lunch today because I like to eat it my first day on the trail here. I like to eat right when I get going. Pretty impressive cliffs over there across the other side of this lake. And here's the first campsite on Bing Shik. Really nice campsite. Got a nice view of the lake. A little brushy, but yeah, tent pads. You can get a tent over there. You can get one in here. There's a few rocks, but a couple of spots back here. These trees I think are big enough for hammocks. You can look like they're 5 inches in diameter. Here's a nice big tent pad. And somebody who wanted to chop on a tree right in the campsite. I don't know why people have to do that. Yeah, it's a pretty little lake. Got some great cliffs across. This site is really used. I'm surprised for a hiking site. Now it is possible to get here by canoe from Fay and Goddard and on to Brant, where you come in from Round Lake. Beautiful spot. Little grove of cedars that survived the fire. Amazing. This is a portage from Bingshik right over here to Honker. It's 15 rods. Kind of want to go see Honker. Ah, boy, this would be a tough one to drag a canoe through. Wow, not even sure if this is still maintained portage or not. This is Honker Lake. It's got some very nice cliffs. All new forest. Completely burned from the fire, but I'd call this the portage landing's not the worst actually, but the rest of it is not great. I'd call that difficulty, the brush and logs and trees and sharp turns in it. I'd give it a difficulty of 8 out of 10 probably. I don't even see it anymore. It was this way somewhere. Bingshik is very high, flooded off into the shore here, flooding a lot of the trail on the north side. All this haze in the sky, it's just been hazy all day. It's got some color there in the sun. I kind of wonder if this isn't smoke. There aren't fires up north or something. Canada, maybe the wind is from the north, so that would make sense. Oh yeah, this is going to be a challenge. The westerly Bingshik site. Big open thing. Wow. Must have been a bunch of canoers here or something. This thing is wide open. Spots for a tent, I think. I don't know if hammockers could get by here, but maybe from that leaning log to that tree, but I doubt that even. Yeah, big open thing and a well used access down here at the lake. This is Glee Lake. Never seen it before. Quite nice. I'm on the canoe portage here. Goes straight down that hill into the water. Really well beaten portage. Maybe hikers keep it open or something a little bit, but right here is the intersection. Right here by this little cairn. That's the trail back to Bingshik. And right here, the big open one is the portage, and the little tiny scrub brushy trail is the hiking trail. Shortly after that little portage to Glee is another portage. There's the trail on to the west, and here's the trail from the east where I came from. And there's a little portage that crosses here. It's still bigger than the trail, but it's pretty small portage wise. That goes to Glee down here to Fay. You kind of see it through the trees there. But I've been to Fay Lake before. My wife and I portaged up there once. Trails this way. There's actually a blue marker there and a blue marker right there in the tree. This is like the third marker I've seen, not very many. That's one of the things I like about hiking this time of year is walking down these little gullies like this, and you can see all the rock cliffs behind me. Very, very pretty outstanding looking rock cliffs. So pretty much from June through October you won't see them at all, but this time of year they really stand out. Trees are budding a little bit. pretty darn nice. All right, we got a big obstacle here. I somehow get across this running stream. I can see a little bit of a path there, and there's a little blue flag in the tree. It doesn't look right because that's War Club Lake, and over here is the river. The beaver dam looks pretty precarious. Well, it's either on this log, but then from there climb down to that rock and across. I don't know. I'll figure it out. Really a neat spot here with this river. That's where I just crossed over there. This lump of rock I'm on is actually splits the river in two. The other half goes over here. And it looks like there's some old log bridge, sort of. A bunch of logs piled up. Anyway, there's cut ends, so. Or a person could try to cross on those rocks. There's a big cliff up here, so I'm sure hoping the trail goes that way, but I don't see any sign of it yet. I'm just going to get across the river here and figure it out. Here's an unexpected spot. High up above War Club Lake is a really nice, just a grassy, fairly smooth walk. Some cairns here and there. Oh yeah. Wow, ridge just keeps going. See a long way. That's that whole Club River, I think it is, and that's War Club Lake. Wow, this thing is way up here. Oh, way in the distance, back that way you can see Fay even. This is the portage here from War Club to Seahorse, I think. There's a blue flag right in the tree across this river. That's where I think the trail is now, the hiking trail, so I gotta somehow get across. And this one does look pretty tough. I don't think I can cross right here. Those rocks are right there, like literally in the water. And here I'm on Seahorse Lake. The portage is all flooded through the trees there. Or portage, I mean trail. All flooded through the trees. You can get through rocks and roots and stuff. You can get through there okay. Then you get to this section, and it is just deep water. There's a shoe floating out in the water out there. Like a water shoe. Someone tried to wade it. I'm out of breath. I just bushwhacked up through there. Thought I could see this tread right here. I thought, oh, there he is. That's the trail again. And then there's more of it. So, yeah, this one wouldn't be so bad, but there's a big rock cliff along the side, so there's nowhere to hug the shore or walk on anything. Like, I think I can do that a little here on the right side. I can hug the shore, but there are a few blue flags here and there. Not very many, but so far I'm finding it. And I'm almost to Howard Lake. It's funny how the trail here was going through this really nice stretch of trees. There's a lot of rocks on the ground, you know, ankle twisters there. But once I got out all the water of Seahorse Lake and then come to this boulder field, there was one back there a ways, but it was only half this big. And this one looks like they ran the trail through the boulder field instead of around it. Kind of funny. Well, what's another challenge, huh? It's about 6 o'clock. Almost to Howard Lake. I'm getting pretty tired. That Seahorse Lake section just kicked my butt. It was absolutely terrible. That was all flooded. The trail follows right on the lake shore, and it's all underwater. So there's a lot of bushwhacking up on the cliff. On the cliff, off the cliff, jump across the pothole, find a rock, find a log, some alders, back up on the cliff. No, it wasn't so bad. This kind of skirts the side of it. I made it here to Howard Lake. It's a campsite. The hiking trail goes right through the middle of it. Like a lot of them do. But it's all flooded with water. Here's some rocks. That's decent by the fire grate. Gonna be a trick to get water, I see. The beaver aren't happy that I'm here. That's where the trail comes in, right here by the grate. This is all has standing water in it. That's the only like flattish spot where there's standing water. This is all on a side hill. Doesn't show on the camera, I know, but it's, yeah. This is the only spot I can see, and there's standing water right here next to it. Like we're at the same levels. Oh yeah, it's squishy. This is gonna have to be it though. There's a big hump right here, and it goes uphill steep right here, and there's a hole in the middle. But this looks like I can fit a tent in here. Camp mostly set up. I got about 80% of the chores done. Look at these mosquitoes out here. My water's filtering over there. Got that done. Got everything packed up in my tent. Notice a new color. More on that later. But I'm going to sit here right now. I have some water and have my food bag out. It's 7:30. I'm going to eat something. I'm not really hungry right now, so I'm not sure what I'm going to eat. I got to think about it for a while. Eat something, finish setting up bed, and I'm going to go to bed early tonight. Good evening from Howard Lake here on the Kekekabic Trail. I'm here at the campsite on the north side of the lake. I have a beautiful evening out there. There's a really there's a haze in the sky. It must be smoke from some fire somewhere because the sun is really red, and it really cooled it down quite a bit. It was I think a high of 78 today on my thermometer, and it's still 72 something right now. It's pretty warm, very nice. A long day, really hard day. That trail is tough. It's almost 10 miles here, 9.6 or 9.7, I can't remember. And that section all around Seahorse is just terrible. It's all flooded and wet and boulder fields and water, and it's just murderous. I can't even believe how bad that section of trail is. I got a pretty slow start this morning, and then after that had a great initial hike, but then getting through that section there, I stopped for a little while at Bingshik. Was gonna maybe stay there but it was only like 2:20. So I stayed there and I ate and I just kind of relaxed a little bit and lubed my feet, and then I took off from there, and it just kind of went downhill from there. There's a stream crossing at the end of War Club river crossing that took me about a half an hour to get across that river. It's just roaring river, and there's no way to cross it. Even if I had wading shoes, you couldn't do it. It's because it's just deep and slippery rocks. So I think I ended up finding a few rocks that were close together from each side, and then I had one spot I had to bridge, so I carried a couple logs out there and laid down that I found in the woods, so I could get from between those two rocks, and then from there I was able to hop. Took a while though, and then it took me an hour just to get across the north shore of Seahorse. That is just a miserable section, and I'm totally dreading walking back out that way. That does not sound like much fun. But I'm here. I'm fed. I got all my chores done. My tent is set up, and I'm tired and ready for bed. I got up at 3:30 this morning, so I am ready for some sleep. Really, really nice. The birds are singing. The sun is down. It's gonna be an early evening for me. Thanks for watching.